Hi, did you know that Oneida County was the landmark for the most bloody and gruesome battles of the American Revolution? On August 1777, the Battle of Oriskany occurred. Most people only hear about the battles of Lexington and Concord or the battles of Bunker Hill because they're the most popular battles that happened during the American Revolution. According to the article I read, writers say that this is one of the most bloodiest battles they've seen during that war. The battle was fought between the Americans, led by General Herkimer, and the British, who were led by Sir John Johnson. The Americans were outnumbered by approximately 400 soldiers. According to history expert Kennedy Hickman, the Americans knew the British army was coming for them since July. They just didn't know when the attack would happen. On July 30th, Herkimer received a heads up that Fort Stanwich, which is now Rome, would possibly be under attack. Herkimer gathered up his army and marched down to Oriskany on August 5th. That same day, General Herkimer sent a message to Fort Stanwich, and when the message was received, they would fire 3 cannons to let him know that they got the message. The messenger sent out during that night on August 5th, but did not arrive until the next morning. This was because back then they used horseback riding. They they had to send the messages from person to person. It just took a while for the message to get to where it had to be. Sir John Johnson found out about the Americans' march down to Fort Stanwich and set up a trap. The trap was, once the Americans had entered the battlefield, Johnson's troops would attack while another force led by Joseph Brant would circle around and strike from the rear. Around 10 a.m. on August 6, 1777, the British attacked General Herkimer and his army. The Americans were caught by surprise. No one was expecting this. I mean, they knew that they were going to end up going to battle, but they didn't know it was going to be this close in time, like this quick. The British killed one of America's top leaders, Colonel Inbezer Cox, and wounded General Herkimer in the leg. Herkimer and his army tried to fight back, but were taken on heavy attack. Somehow Herkimer and his troops scrambled to safety. At this point, the Americans were on the south side of the Mohawk River trying to defend Fort Stanwich, which is now known today as Rome, New York, like I mentioned earlier. The American soldiers were struggling to fight back. As soldiers began to drop like flies, Americans started they just didn't know, they weren't properly prepared, they didn't have the weapons, the ammo, they just began to drop. Warfare got postponed and the Americans lucked out due to a heavy thunderstorm which gave General Herkimer time to tighten up and set up a strategy for his army. By this time, it was way too late. Herkimer and his army were still outnumbered and was forced to surrender. The battle ended with 50% of the American soldiers being killed, while only 15% of the British soldiers were. The Americans were no match for the British, and the surprise attack was successful. In that 50% of American troops being killed, one casualty was General Herkimer, who died on August 16th after having his leg amputated. That's because back then they didn't really have like nurses as smart as we do now and doctors that really was they were used to it, but they just didn't have the technology to save lives like that. Like if something was amputated, most likely they would die due to disease. Today there is a memorial in honor of the battle. I haven't checked it out yet, but I plan on going to see it when I have free time. They have a monument that was dedicated in 1884. They have a visitation center, hours offered, a hiking area, and they also do reenactments of the war. So you can go there. They reenact the war. They give you like a full background, basically, of what happened during the war. Then they give you a nice little visual instead of just writing on a paper. Just they give you a nice little visual of what happened, so it's easier to comprehend. Um, I plan on going to check it out soon, and I'll let you guys know how it was. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a little bit about history that happened right here in the area of Oneida County, basically around here, the Herkimer area, right around the corner from Utica. Once again, thank you for your time.